Side of goal! And what a goal!
Georgie, Porgy, Pudding and Pie made a mistake and made us cry. And because the Spurs came out to play, that's 2 precious points that have been dropped today. I don't know if many of you remember those old nursery rhymes, but I think that one sums it up perfectly. And all I can say right now is, yep, the comments are coming in, and very soon I will put the link in. All I can say is, you know, with both Martinelli and Trossard injured today, fair to say that we were going to be up against it. The fact that Gabriel Jesus, easily a better centre forward than our number 14, was shunted to the left, said it all. Perhaps the only good thing about the lineup was, of course, that Raya kept his place and we had the same back four. And you know, Kai Havertz didn't start today, but he, along with his fellow Chelsea reject Georgie, were brought on at half-time to try to wrest back the momentum. Fair to say that Declan Rice wasn't exactly, cooked properly, a little bit undercooked, and wasn't able to get to grips with Basuma and company in that midfield. Ironically, we started off quite well enough with, most of the possession, and Spurs were looking quite sloppy in the midfield and at the back, and we should have taken advantage of it. We just couldn't. And the worst part is, of course, with Maddison and Kulusevski working their magic down the right, the left side was always going to be a bit of a risk. And again, it's a case of lessons not being learnt. You could hear the crowd roaring when the stoppage time announcement was made. But I think there are going to be a lot of disappointed people in that crowd today. And, you know, Spurs can take a lot of credit for their performance today, a richly well-deserved point. And they are more or less on the up with Postecoglou. Special mention to Brennan Johnson, who looked lively down the left before going off. But quite simply put, we were absolutely awful today. And I think I probably wouldn't go so far to say that we were lucky to get a point, but we didn't deserve anything more than that. I am now, of course, going to bring in one of our favorite guests, Mr. Warren Bartholomew, who obviously would have had... I don't know if you had your Soccer Sunday today, because we had 4 games being played. You probably would have seen that game. And I think it's fair to say, Warren, that you absolutely despised the result and most of the performance today.
Sorry, say that again, Manny?
Yeah, sorry. First of all, I don't know if you had had a Soccer Sunday today, because we had 4 games going on at the same time. But if you did see the performance today, you must be absolutely livid, right?
I listened to it on the radio. I don't have access to Sky Sports or anything like that. So I was listening to it on the radio and it didn't sound good. But, 4 years and we're no nearer challenging, in my opinion, to win a title than what we were the day he was appointed. I still don't understand why he was appointed. It's just an absolute shambles, to be honest. So, I find it embarrassing. And, if we come up against a tough club today that the previous manager let rip at the owner and everyone by the tea lady, blaming them for the mess that the club was in. And they come to us today and they've managed to get a point. And we're supposed to have the world's best young coach. It makes me laugh. When are these people going to wake up and realise that we're being conned? Like, the emperor has got no clothes. He has got no clothes. It's high time people woke up and smelt the coffee. 4 years of this nonsense. Honestly, £700 million this fella has spent, and we had Havertz, Jorginho, and who else did we have? One other non-entity of a player. It's just not acceptable. You know, we spent about £500 million wasted on some ridiculous youth project. And by the way, I heard Martin O'Neill talking about projects the other day on Talk Sport, and what he said was absolutely spot on. He turned around and he said, well, there's no such thing as projects in football because at some point you've got to start winning football matches. When is this nonsense going to stop? Why is this guy held in such high esteem? He's never won. He's won one FA Cup, and that is it. He's not an Arsenal legend, so he hasn't got that to fall back on. It's just, I just don't get it. These people have either been brainwashed, or they're either that, or they're just thick as shit, or a mixture of both. Because it's just fucking ridiculous at this point. I'm sorry, but it is. I'm sick of it, and I'm sure my man there, Darren, is gonna have some harsh words to say about it because this is going on far too long. We're supposed to be the third biggest club in the country, and we're acting like a National League South team. Come on, let's get this thing together and start behaving like a proper club.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And the comments have made it crystal clear. Declan Rice went off with a bit of an injury, so he could be out for a bit of time. It now means that we've got to have Georgie Porgy playing a few games. Now, I don't want to be too harsh on the fella because obviously, you know, he hasn't had much game time, but a guy of his experience needed to be switched on for that mistake, really. And, of course, Saka...
Stop you. I would have played Jorginho today in that midfield, because that midfield was weak. We had Odegaard, Rice, and who was the other one that started?
Fabio Vieira.
Exactly. And we're coming up against a team that's got Basuma in their midfield. That midfield wasn't good enough. And Jorginho could have sat in the DM role and given Rice the ability to do a sort of hybrid DM number 8 role, and it would have worked much more efficiently than the nonsense that Arteta put on. I'm sorry, and the fact that we spent all that money and that's what we're relying on, what we're calling off the bench, is shocking. I mean, come on. 700 million, and that's the best we can do? No, I'm sorry, it's not good enough.
Not good enough at all. 700 million on 3 players and a loan player for an extra 3 million, which could be converted to a 30 million purchase and good enough for him. Central, good evening to you, son. Obviously, you were laughing at what Warren was saying, and I know that you agree with everything he said. First of all, 2 announcements. I know Del Boy said he wanted to be here today, but he's busy working. He's asked me, of course, to lead. And, of course, with Sheffield United and Newcastle United playing today, I would like to sort of make a special tribute to Sheffield United and the family and near and dear ones of Maddie Cusack, who passed away very recently. Very unexpected, and our prayers go to all Blades fans, everyone affiliated with the club, and also to Maddie's family. May she be at peace, and may her near and dear ones find solace and strength to cope with that loss. Central, back to you. I'm going to start today, obviously, with some of the positives. Of course, Raya ended up making his 3rd consecutive start today, and that means that he has, of course, now effectively displaced Ramsdale as our number 1. And we didn't have Kai Havertz starting today, but then he did come on as a sub. Didn't look too bad, but certainly didn't look much better either than Jorginho. But let's talk about Raya for a minute. The save he made from Brennan Johnson, you know, obviously the shot wasn't really that good enough, but the Welshman was pretty much unbalanced and sort of prodded towards the goal, but Raya still had to make the save. Memories of that magnificent save from David Seaman 20 years ago from Paul Pescasolido in the FA Cup semi-final in his 1000th game, nonetheless, flying across like that. But then he also didn't really do too much wrong, but a lot of the commentators were saying that prior to Son's equaliser, in the first half. He probably should have, waited for the cross to sort of come down, then caught it rather than flapping at it with his left hand. Um, I don't know if necessarily you could criticize him for that. Maybe you could because it was a cross. And had he seen the trajectory of the ball, he probably would have been better advised to sort of stay in his place and catch it then. And I would say he did have a good game, a really good game, and he's certainly proven that we were right to get him on loan. And the defense was a bit of a problem down the left with Son and Kulusevski and Madison combining magnificently. What did you think of our defense today, and what are your comments on Raya?
Okay, Raya, I think he'll put his head up on high because he did make some good saves. I think without him, we'll probably get creamed. Defense, I don't think defense done a foot wrong in this game. I think they will look solid. They were a bit shaky sometimes, but yeah, I'm still, I think Ray will do well. Even though I think he might get up. Hope he comes here permanently, but yeah, I think he did save Al Bacon. I think he kind of stepped up in the big game so far in his career. Yeah, I'm still pissed about this game. We should have won. We should have got 3 points. Have any chance of catching up with Man City, but it's what it is, man. But it's just like this, like. God, Jorginho, man, he hurts me a little bit. I know it's his first game of the season, but he trying to dribble the ball, just clear the ball out, just clear it.
Yeah.
The one thing that bugs me a little bit, Smith Rowe came on in the dying minutes. It's like it got me thinking, why could they just play him in the foot instead of why could it be like Jorginho and Smith Rowe instead of like Havertz and Jorginho. I don't get Arteta's substitution, man. He's just like this dude's on a scientist's will, man. He's on his own will sometimes. The guy think he's like this dude is an egomaniac, man. I'm gonna say right now, he's got until November. If we got, I swear to God, if we crashed out on Wednesday, and we're nowhere near what we did last season, in that league contention, he's got to go, man. I'm sorry. We paid this whole project youth and youth process and projects. It's like, mate, 5 years. This is his 5th season. This is no process, man. This is the 3rd biggest club in the country. What the hell? What are you on about process, man? We should be winning trophies. Stop, I don't get it, man. I'm not. God, I wish I'd do more, but it's just what it is, man.
Yeah, I understand. And obviously you'll have heard Martin O'Neill saying that, a process doesn't work unless the team start winning. And of course, there is this comment right now from Ali D saying that Jorginho isn't really strong. He's slow and weak. Not much idea how he would have helped. Look, I'm going to give Jorginho some credit. I mean, normally his qualities as a defensive midfielder are that he can, sort of slow the game down, but bringing him on with 45 minutes to go immediately for the second half, I'm not too sure he's got the stamina that would warrant him being a starter. And for a game of this magnitude, you would expect him to be switched on a little bit. And Warren did say, though, that the midfield did look quite weak, certainly. And Mr. Sullivan, I'm coming to you right now, sir. He did have Warren has a bit of a point when he said the midfield looked weak. But it is really interesting to note that Spurs, in the very beginning of the game, were also extremely sloppy with their passing and ball control and couldn't really get into the game. Pape Matar Sarr himself making some pretty poor mistakes, it has to be said. And, we should have probably scored a few more and put the game to bed in that first half itself. But now what worries me is that we are developing a reputation of being a first half team and nothing else, because in the second half, we might have turned it on against PSV in the Champions League, but in the Premier League against a fired up Spurs team, we just looked a little bit flat and then couldn't really get into gear until very near the end. And even then we couldn't put it back in. What do you think went wrong with our performance today? I know that you are absolutely livid, and I think you've said it perfectly in the comments. Fire away, sir. The floor's yours.
Well, I think everything that's wrong with our club was there for all to see today. When I see fans, when on the replay of Son's goal, laughing, our fans laughing after Song had equalised, that tells you all you need to know about our fans in our football club. Or not all of them, but a lot of them in there. It's not something you would do, as far as I'm concerned, laugh after Son's just equalised. So I put this defeat solely down to Arteta and Eddie Nketiah. We were on top. We should have been 3-up. Eddie Nketiah had a chance to slot one-on-one with a goalkeeper. He could have squared it, but he took the right choice to take the shot on, and the goalkeeper saved it. Then Jesus nicked Maddison really well, and we all know he's not an out-and-out clinical finisher, and he put the ball over the bar. Now, Jesus was by far our best player out there today, and Arteta hooks him with 20 minutes left if you include injury time. So there you go. There's a manager that's so out of touch with his own team. And all right, he sees these players in training every week and he needs to rotate. But we've got our next game is against Brentford in the week. And really, will Jesus be starting? I don't know. But anyway, I just felt, and I lay this blame on solely on Eddie Nketiah. I've never seen such a nasty, lazy performance from a player. We were in the ascendancy. We were 1-0 up. We got the goal. And then think back to a point in that first half. If you watch the game again, anyone does, I might not, because I'm so annoyed at the moment. Eddie Nketiah has got the ball in a good position outside their box. He's lazy, he's slow. Tottenham nick the ball off him. They then go up the other end of the pitch and they have that chance when Raya makes that save that looks like the Seaman save against Sheffield United. As soon as that happened, then Tottenham, 30 minutes into the game, 35 minutes in, they went in the ascendancy and they thought, hang on a minute, we've got a good chance here of equalising, and they equalised. So then the second half comes out and we're fortunate to get a penalty. I thought it was a penalty. I did think he put his arm slightly down so Gary Neville, we all know what he's like. He didn't think it was a penalty, but I thought it was a penalty. So we get 2-1 up, and immediately after we score, Saka starts doing all this dart throwing, taking the piss out of Maddison's celebrations and all that. And we think the job's done at 2-1, and literally from the kickoff, the Chelsea pensioner, who's let us down time and time again, does it again. He gets himself robbed, trying to do trickery. They get a breakaway and they equalise. And, you see at the end who we've got up front. Where are these quality players? We missed Trossard today. I was gutted when he weren't playing. I was on such a high after that midweek performance because I thought, there's a team that have played. That's an Arsenal team that was played in the week, a proper Arsenal team, minus Havertz. But, today we get lightweight Vieira. With Odegaard, Odegaard does track back and he puts tackles in, and he did give his best today. I can't knock Odegaard at all. But if you're going to put Odegaard in the middle next to Rice, you've also, I think, got as Warren says, they had some heavyweights in the midfield. When the opposition have got heavyweights like that, you can't go and put Vieira light in the team. We've got Vieira heavy, who was a legend for us. Now we've got Vieira light, right? Because he's a lightweight, and so is Jorginho, a lightweight. It's hard for Jorginho to come in get the pace of the game in the second half. I get all that, but this is a disgrace. Tottenham should have been brushed aside today. It should have been a 3-4, 5-0. That club and that manager, fair play to them. They've gone out in the summer and they've made shrewd, sensible buys. They ain't wasted money like us. Well, Kai Havertz, look at him again today, just languishing. I actually thought he probably played better than he normally did today for us. But even so, it ain't good enough. And I was just left at the end of the game, last 20 minutes, thinking, well, where's our goals coming from? Arteta's just took our biggest threat off the pitch. He's just got rid of him. He was the one making everything happen for us. Jesus, And then Arteta sacks him, says, yeah, come off. And then Smith Rowe's coming on. He's not played. He's got 4 minutes to impact a game. He's not going to do it, is he? It's just not going to happen. Nelson comes on. Yeah, he's a reasonable player. Is he a world-class player that's going to, give you a new threat and turn things around for you? Probably not. He had his shot against Bournemouth. He had a shot today, deflected and over the bar. He tried. But at the end of the day, if this is all we've got when we get a few injuries like your Trossards and your Rices, we're not going to be achieving what we're setting out to achieve. And I'm afraid those fans in that stadium, I was ashamed of today, laughing after Son got that goal, because that proves that a lot of the fans in the stadium are just there and it don't really mean much to them, us winning against our rivals. It's just a joke for them. Oh, well, we go again, we play again. Well, that's just not good enough.
A plague on all their houses, as William Shakespeare would say. These are probably the same fans, I would say, who walked away from the stadium when we were losing to Brighton at home. Some of those fans really aren't fit to have season tickets. And, all we can do is say we move, and we have to move on. And obviously we've got Lens in the Champions League next and more Premiership tests to come. But with the injuries starting to pile up, it doesn't look good. And Saka's also looking like he's hobbling. Arteta will be the decline of that boy, and that really worries me. Henry, good evening to you, sir. Did you see the Arsenal Tottenham game? I don't know if you did, because I think Liverpool were on at that time. What are your brief observations of the Arsenal performance, and what do you think Arteta got wrong, if you were able to catch it?
Oh, right. Before I begin, I want to say you are spot on with paying tribute to the Sheffield woman who passed away. That was very tragic, and all her family and everybody, the teammates that she played around are heartbroken. So that was spot on, Manny.
Thank you.
But also, yes, Liverpool were playing at the same time as the North London derby. So I wasn't able to catch either game because it wasn't being aired because of the Newcastle-Sheffield United game. They should have postponed that game in respect for the lady that passed away. And it should have been either Arsenal Spurs game for 4:30, or it should have been Liverpool versus West Ham. But I didn't actually have much of a prediction because it's a hard game to predict. So I went the safe route for a 1-1 draw. But even though Harry Kane has gone, Spurs are still compact, somewhat. But I think that I was hoping that the Gunners would win, because I have a friend who is a Spurs fan, so it's very hard to talk to her. So I did the Arsenal game in Europe when they played PSV. I did the whole watch along, which was an enjoyable game to watch. So I can't really commentate on the game today. Sorry.
Okay, I respect that. But hopefully, I'm sure you will agree with what we've got to say. And we do have some problems starting to creep up at the worst possible time. The only problem is, of course, because we and didn't lose today, and we're still, for what it's worth, in the top 4, people are just going to look at it and say, you know what, let's not complain. But we've got some fans over here who have a reason and a right to complain. And Static, it is good to have you back on Del Boy Gunner TV. Everything you say, I'm sure, will be definitely quite sensible, and I'm sure you'll agree with the Arsenal fans who've spoken before you. The floor's all yours, brother. Take it away.
First of all, hello to everyone in the panel. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear, Static.
Fantastic. Hello to everyone in the live chat. Okay. That was a really disappointing performance. I'm sorry. We did play well in patches, but we didn't do enough to win the game, boys. We got what we deserved. We could also have lost the game. We're just not good enough. And I'm going to say it now. Goodbye, league title. I don't care what anyone says. We're not going to win the league now. Man City are just going to keep winning and winning and winning and winning. They're going to run away with the league title. And the fact that we couldn't even beat Tottenham, like, with all due respect to them, you know, they play well and they deserve their draw. Credit to them. I'll give them credit. But we're playing at home, boys. And anything but a win is never acceptable at home. Just why did Arteta take Jesus off when he should have? Nketiah was just completely anonymous throughout the whole game. Yeah, I was watching him for 10 minutes straight. He was just jogging non-stop. What is he doing? Yeah, he got into good positions, but bro, you're on 100k a week. You've got to do better, and you're playing for Arsenal. No excuses. You have to step up with your performances. But the first half was good, but not great. But the second half, you could tell we just ran out of energy too quickly. The goals were just shocking. We conceded, absolutely shocking. Especially Jorginho. I'm sorry. Look, when you're in that position, he had plenty of time to think. When he was on the ball, he had 5-10 seconds. He was stalling. I wouldn't criticize him. I'll be disappointed if he kicked the ball out for a throw-in. I'll be like, well, you know what, I'm disappointed, but at least you got yourself out of danger. That's the important thing. You got yourself out of danger. But no, he didn't. He stalled for too long. He gives the ball away. They counter-attack and they score to make it 2-2 whilst we're still celebrating after the penalty. I'm sorry, guys. The league title's gone. I know this is still a long way to go this season, but like I have to echo what Kyle said weeks ago, and I agree with him. The league title's over. We're not going to win it.
Okay. Yeah, if Kyle were here, he'd certainly approve of what you were saying. And, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about, I've already spoken about one of the few things that Arteta got right. And Warren, I'll come to you and then get Central to speak briefly before you have to leave. One of the things he did get right, of course, was making sure he got Raya in. And for what it's worth, he didn't have to spend too much initially. 3 million for a loan deal, which will be, increased 9-fold when we buy him and add him to the club. And certainly, apart from that instance where he flapped at that cross, perhaps he looked very secure today. Excellent handling, good quick distribution, and of course that wonder save from that scuffed Brennan Johnson shot, bringing back memories of that save, of course. And you could see in parts that there is a ruthless streak to Arteta in the way if he wants to strengthen in that particular area. But the biggest issue is that, and I'm going to go back to a comment that Hendon Guna made, which I believe I put it on Star, and here it is. 65 million bob for Kai Havertz when we should have gotten Maddison and Ward-Prowse for that level of money. And those two players have been on fire this season for the other two London clubs, Spurs and West Ham, respectively. Of course, West Ham lost today at Anfield, but you can't deny that Ward-Prowse has had an impact. So if Arteta is smart enough to try and be ruthless, I say ruthless with quotations when he wants to be, he needs to be ruthless enough to sort of come to a conclusion that people like Edward Nketiah will not be the solution to the problems that we have. So there is a lot of inconsistencies going on with his particular style of management. And why can't he... is it a case of favoritism on his side for certain players? It seems to be also a lack of man management, because I think maybe he's fearful that some players could, have fitness problems. He's overworking Saka into the ground. He's sent Nicolas Pepe on his way. We only have Reece Nelson as cover for Saka. What is it with Arteta, and why can't he be as sensible as this for other areas of his squad? If he can do this for the goalkeeper, why not in other areas? Warren, please go ahead and
Well,
answer me.
I'm sorry, Manny, but I completely disagree
Warren,
with
you
everything you said. I mean, let's be honest about it. Darren
Look
summed
here,
this
Manny.
up on Friday night perfectly. This goalkeeping fiasco, right? We're back now where we were 4 years ago, having spent, what, near on £40 million for what?
God.
Just to put us back where we were when he was here 4 years ago. We got rid of Emmy to Aston Villa, right? We've gone through all this different personnel, backup keepers, first choice starting keepers, when we could have saved all that money and kept Emmy. I just don't understand it. What is going through this guy's mind? The only person at this club he needs to be, what was the word you used? Strict or something with, ruthless with, is himself. He turned round and said he come out at the beginning of the season and made some comment about how he gave serious consideration to resigning. I don't believe that for 5 minutes, but he bloody well should have done. Anyone worth his salt would have looked at what's happened over the last 2 seasons at that point and realised that he's not up to the job. And it's showing again, he's not up to the job. And I just do not understand why people cannot see it and why he keeps getting backed all the time. Excuse after excuse after excuse. It's absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, Darren, next time, can you just quickly explain what you said on Friday about Emmy and this business with Raya? Because it was absolutely spot on, mate.
Yeah, I mean, when we won that FA Cup, Emmy come in goal in there before the final, and all of a sudden everybody wondered why we all looked more solid at the back and in midfield. And, you know, poor old Emmy at the cup final, you know, he was emotional and he knew he was going to get sold by Arteta, because Arteta thought, oh, that's good. They've won me an FA Cup, so they've given me a bit of credit in the bank. Now I'll stab them all in the back and get rid of them all, like Aubameyang and Pepe and Emmy as well. And he has. He's knifed them all in the back, as far as I'm concerned. He used them to get a bit of credit in the bank for himself, because that weren't his team. And then he's got rid of them all. And we can go on about the Aubameyang thing till the cows come home. But I remember seeing Aubameyang tracking back in the left-back position. That's not his game. And who can blame Aubameyang for getting annoyed? Now, that gets spun by every Gary Neville Arsenal-hating pundit out there that spins it to say, oh, well, Arteta's got rid of Aubameyang because he had an issue. Aubameyang had an attitude problem. No, it weren't Aubameyang with the attitude. Aubameyang was a good striker. He'd slot goals. His figures stack up, right? So going back to the goalkeeper situation. So we had Emmy. We sold him 25, 30 million to Aston Villa. Then we bought the unknown Ramsdale in from Sheffield United, who is a decent goalkeeper. He's a backup, but he's not world class because he wants to be a star of a show. He needs to go and get a job at theatre, pantomime or something like that. And when you've got a goalkeeper like that, as Jamie Carragher quite rightly pointed out, Arsenal will never win the Premier League with him in goal, right? We should have won it last year until he passed to Southampton's front line, right? So we buy Ramsdale. Now Arteta works it out. Oh, actually, not sure now. Well, this is Arteta's apprenticeship, this project that they're going on about, that we're still in. And like it or not, we're still in his little project apprenticeship that the Cronkies have set up for him. Now he's worked it out. Oh, yeah, I've made a mistake there. Yeah, everyone at the club's going, oh, how wonderful is Arteta. Look, he's just sacked Ramsdale. Oh, Arteta's ruthless because he's got rid of Ramsdale. No, he's not ruthless. He's inept. He's not a good enough manager. That's the fact.
correcting the mistake he made, isn't he?
Sorry, missed that one.
He's correcting the mistake he did before. And I want to say thank
you're
you for
cutting
putting
out.
that in. Now, I'm ready to go, and I will bring Matt Omen. But speaking about some... No, I just want to say that Arteta is correcting the mistake he made when he got rid of... Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah,
Yes.
can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
We can hear you, Manny.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so as I was saying, Arteta was effectively correcting the mistake he made when he got rid of Emi Martinez. And so I suppose we can't give him maybe too much credit for that. And one of the players I think you mentioned, Darren, that was knifed in the back, one of the FA Cup heroes, was Kieran Tierney. And I'm going to get Central your opinion on this because I know you have to leave in a few. I don't want to get Matt Oderman before we fan cam with Lee Gunner. But again, one of the biggest issues from today was, of course, Tottenham's right-hand side. You know, Maddison, Kulusevski, and Son combining together, Son being able to spring the offside trap more often than not. He was caught offside on a few occasions at the beginning, but then he was able to spring the trap and then he was able to score. And Zinchenko, once again, was nowhere to be seen. And I don't want to sing my version of that ridiculous chant. I think people have had enough of my voice for a bit for long enough anyway. But Tierney, of course, has had a good start to life in Spain with Real Sociedad, played quite well enough against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, and had a stormer against Inter Milan in the Champions League, where he effectively kept Denzel Dumfries quiet and was brought off, of course, after an hour to sort of refresh him, really. Certainly couldn't be blamed for Inter's equaliser, but then it really all adds up. Tierney was stabbed in the back. We miss him, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Central.
Yeah. I think yes. I can't. Zinchenko is not a left back. Like if I can see it, if everyone in this panel can see it, and why Arteta cannot see it? He's not a left back. He plays more as a CM. You know, I watched 2 weeks ago England Ukraine. He plays as a CM. You know, he's too. You know, like in this game he plays left back, and most of the time he's acting like a CM. It's just like. That getting rid of Tierney, man, that's a big mistake, you know, like that was a big mistake because now we've got no backup because Timbers is now injured. We won't see him again until next year. Tierney, you know, he's doing well in Spain, you know. I think he might be on his way going to a big club next summer. And, you know, it's just like, man, I think, Jesus Christ, man, like, they need to stop. The two players they need to stop is Maddison and Son, and they failed to do that. You know, like but yeah, this is like I don't know, man. Like, you know, our weak link has to. Our weakest link is the left back. Which they're exposing the right hand side or left hand side because we got no proper left back. You know, we need a left back in January. You know, I don't think we're going to get a left back in January because he's going to play Zinchenko every single time because he has no choice. Because maybe Mr. Arteta go around and find a replacement of Tierney or buy two left backs, you know, and none of this wouldn't happen. But it's just like this. It's poor man management today. You know, for Spurs they treat it like I think the Spurs. It's like Tottenham. I think like. I think it's a possible result for them than us because you know, like they got a point at the Emirates for the first time in 4 years. Most of the time, we end up beating them 3 Emirates matches in a row. You know, but yeah, it's just like I don't know, man. I can't be looking forward for the other games. You know, because Rice is now. We don't know if Rice's injury is like a long term. Saka's a bit gingery, you know. It's just like, God damn, we've got Man City about 2 weeks. You know, this is like, yeah. I think we're not going to win the league or challenge the league. I think it's gone. It's finito. You have to focus on the cups and the Champions League.
Yeah. Well, the City. Yeah, well, the City result will probably be confirmation of that. But Central, I know you have to leave, so I'll get you off and bring Matt on. But before you leave, shout yourself out and tell us about your channel and what you got coming up.
I haven't got a video coming up soon, but you can follow
Central, you
me
there?
at Central Man Network on YouTube. 354 subscribers. So that,
Yeah, can hear you.
yeah.
We can hear
That's
you.
it.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
I
very
just-
good. Well, thanks a lot for coming on as always, and we will hope to. Yep. Yes.
It's definitely
Yeah,
you,
so
man.
thanks
You
for-
keep cutting out.
Yes. Yeah. So thanks a lot for coming on, Central, and we will see you on the video very soon. Take care of yourself, and I don't know what it is with me, but now it's time to bring on our esteemed guest from the land of peaches, Mr. Odom. Good evening to you, brother. I'm sure you
Brother.
absolutely have a lot to say about that display, and we welcome you once again to the channel. There's no Del Boy tonight, but you're with me. Fire away. We're here for you. We're all ears.
Warren, you were right, brother. You said me and you talked before the season, and everything is coming to pass, my friend. Everything is coming to pass, my friend. Brother, today was another concrete example of Arteta he has plan A, but there's no B, C, D, E, F, G. We are worse off now than we were last season.
Facts.
The title is gone.
Yep, I said that too.
People are talking about
Go on.
City is weakened. Liverpool doesn't look the same and all this stuff. But one thing remains the same here is that Arteta is still the manager of Arsenal Football Club. And we are going backwards again. Kai Havertz, $65 million. I told Lee Gunn after we got off the air, I said, $65 million could have bought you Madison, Ward-Prowse. Point
Facts.
blank. Ward-Prowse offers you more than what Kai Havertz offers you. There's any proven player offers you more than what Kai Havertz offers. Eddie Nketiah. It's not it. How many times do we all have to sit on this panel and say that? We've been saying, all of us have been saying this since last season. Stevie Wonder can see that.
Thank you, bro. Facts.
I mean, after today's performance, it should be concrete shutdown that this man needs to be moved on in January. He needs to be sold. There was opportunity after opportunity after opportunity for him to try to make a name for himself. Can't do it. Trossard's injured. Timber's injured. Saka looks like he's injured. Word on the street, Rice is injured. How many times did I sit here last year with y'all, Warren and Darren, and we talked in Monday, and I said, ecstatic. And I said, well, we skipped past the injury bug this year. We were lucky. We were lucky because normally we have a bunch of injuries. We were lucky last year. And then what do we see this year? Oh, but we don't need any more people. I told Tony Clark. I told Tony. I said, Tony, we need a position, a quality backup for every position on the field, because when we capitulate royally. We are in deep doo-doo. Deep doo-doo for the rest of this season. See, there's no transfer window in a month to save us. There's no transfer window in a couple of weeks. We don't have the luxury of going out getting somebody on loan or anything. Now you're stuck with what you got. You sold Tierney over to Real Sociedad. Zinchenko, watched him today. Did y'all see him today, y'all? A couple of times there, out of position. Completely out of
Matt, sorry to interrupt. He's on loan, Tierney. But
yeah. But
I know what you mean.
But I'm sorry, I forget. Yeah, we loaned him. We didn't sell him, but we loaned him. we got to have it doing that. We loan players. We don't make any money from them. But I digress. You have Zinchenko today, out of position. Kai Havertz, what did he do the second half? What did he do? What did he do besides getting other people's way? He's been doing that for the last several games he's played. And then this was the one that mystified me the most during the broadcast. Me and Ola was watching, and I looked at Ola, and when I saw him take off, he took off Jesus. He took off Jesus. He said, I'm going to bring on Reece Nelson, which I don't mind Reece Nelson coming on, but why was Eddie Nketiah still on that pitch after that substitution? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, you know what? There's no plan B. There's no
I think
plan
the
C.
crazy thing about it, Matt, is he's taken off a striker to bring on a winger. Yeah, and he's taken off our best striker and left
Facts.
the inferior one on the pitch. So why did he take off the inferior one and put the winger where he's supposed to?
War.
None of it makes any sense.
As soon as
What?
that happened, I knew we were going to not win the game,
Fellas.
boys.
Honestly,
I
it's
knew
like
it.
an Inspector Clouseau film.
Yeah. I mean, you
Warren.
watch this guy, gentlemen. You watch the manager. You watch him, and it's just like it's like completely the game plan that he had the first half. It didn't work, and he was completely clueless. Well, Orange says, you know what? We're going to make a few adjustments. We're going to attack a few spots, and then it was just chaos. And then Jorginho, we said here last year, and I told people this summer he needs to be moved on. When the Saudis came in, he should have been sold. Top dollar. We could have got top
Facts.
dollar for him.
Mhm.
And what happened? What was the first thing he did? He touched the ball the second time. And what happened? Go. And we're getting ready. And I told Lee this, and I'll say it here. I'll say it right here. I told him this in the back chat. I said, don't be surprised if we get put out on Wednesday. I want people to understand that. Don't be surprised if we get sent home by Brentford, because if that's the starting lineup, then what are we showing up to the League Cup with this week? What does the youth system look like? If that's what the starters look like, what does the youth system look like? So we are in dire straits, and I don't think people understand that the success that was attained last year will not be the success that was attained this year. I told Ola, I said, right now, if you were to hold a gun to my head and say, Oldham, you tell us where we're going to finish at, I'm going to tell you 4th, 5th, or 6th. And that depends on where the games fall, because we are not the same team that we were last season. And super Arsenal fans are going to have to come to the realization that last year, as we said it, was a missed opportunity. And
We've only had one good performance this
Super
season,
Arsenal
and that
fans,
was
I
on
love
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. That was the best performance that we had since the beginning of last season. Or you can go all the way back to maybe January, maybe after the World Cup ended. We had maybe a decent run there, and then that was it. But then that tells you the quality that we played against on Wednesday. They are not up to snuff. But when you run into a halfway decent team, and I don't even really rate Spurs. I really don't even rate them. But halfway decent to our standards, this is what you get.
See, this is like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer Mark II, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's exactly like that. This manager plays on emotions. He gets up under the skins of the super fan. The super fans get overly emotional. They start feeling themselves. They start reading into the music. They start listening to the music. They start getting into the hype, and then they believe. And then the reality of the situation is we are not a good team.
And really, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Man United fans can be excused for supporting him because he won them the European Cup.
Yep, he's got.
Arteta's not a legend.
He is not a legend.
Facts,
He was,
Darren.
hey, Darren. He was a panic day buy because we got hit up by Manchester United 8-2.
Exactly.
Yeah, people forget that.
Facts.
Yeah, but let's actually go over to this particular comment over here. The one big silver lining is that this will be Arteta's last season, and I think
Are we
I
sure
can
that? Are we
definitely
sure that, my man? Are we
Oh,
sure?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, we need to. We need to make
Please.
sure that we agree that if he doesn't improve on it, I mean, it's funny how, Matt, you compared him to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Half a season after he finished second, he got his marching orders. I just don't know if our board are going to be ruthless enough to sack him, but I will say this. If the performances and our results do not match last season's, second place finish, and we do terribly in the Cups and the CL, it should be his last season. And yet the worst part is people are going to try to spin this around to see that, the players he signed are completely incompetent. But
Facts.
let's try and talk about Tottenham. I mean, obviously, we can't give them too much credit because we are primarily an Arsenal channel. But Static, I sort of bypassed you to get to Matt. I'm sorry about that, but um, what do you think Ange did right with his, with his tactics today? And certainly, we mentioned that he was able to get Son and Madison and Kulusevski working quite beautifully. But what did you think about the Tottenham defence? I thought Udogie started off a bit shakily, but grew into the game. The less said, of course, about Christian Romero, the better. How that guy won a World Cup, I'll never know. Of course, he had Emi Martinez behind him. But yeah, so what did you think of Spurs today? What do you think Ange got right? And do you think Mr. Postecoglou, the Aussie, would be a better manager for a club of our stature than Arteta?
No, I wouldn't do that for Arteta. No, with all due respect to him, of course. But look, listen, if he keeps doing well this season for Tottenham, then who knows? Who knows? As for them, look, Romero was definitely the worst player on the pitch. I'm sorry, he was. He was absolutely awful for Tottenham. But he had one or two good moments. But the overall defense kind of covered his mistakes. You could say. So yeah, they were pretty solid defensively. The way Postecoglou and Tottenham, they set up. I'm trying not to praise them too much, but look, they did well, and credit to them. They were playing. We played right into their hands. We were pressing them, and they were literally mimicking us when they were pressing us. But their tactics, their game plan was they were just going to soak up the pressure, be patient. I mean, I saw at halftime they had more possession than us. They had 60% possession. So I could tell they were just taking their time. They're like, yeah, look, we're still in the game. We're losing 1-0, but before it was 1-0. Yeah, we're still in the game. And then 1-0, it's like, yeah, we'll just take our time. It was just all about the patience, just slow build-up play. So, because, like I said, just they were playing. Their game plan was just to be patient for 90 minutes, which they were. Let's be honest. And if there was a chance to counter-attack, which there were a few times where they could have scored right at the end, last 5 minutes. Yeah, so like I said, just their game plan, in my opinion, was just soak up the pressure, playing patiently, and if they, like I said, just I don't know what to say, just because like I said, just they weren't too. I think it didn't feel to me like they were going to try and win. They were more satisfied with just getting a draw, but if they could get a win, fantastic. But I could tell it's just their game plan was just overall just be patient, and they were, because like I said, they didn't they counterattacked a lot, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. Sorry, I'm just still very deflated because it feels like a defeat, boys. It really does.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I mean, look, it seems as though all of these teams' strategy will be to sort of wait for us to, expand our just stoke up, use all our energy in the first half to try to come at them, and then they sort of hit us on the counter. And we're still, a bit weak defensively. So the fact that Arteta can't, get his tactics right is utterly stupid. But before Henry, I will come to you. But Warren, let me say this: as someone who has a very soft spot for Celtic, and definitely understandably so, you will of course know how Ange operates. And how impressed have you been with him briefly since he's taken charge of Spurs? I'm sure you would have liked him to have stayed at Celtic, given how Rodgers has, sort of had to deal with some stormy waters. But how do you think Postecoglou has turned Tottenham around a little bit, and do you think he's settled in quite well?
First of all, I'd like to say that I think Brendan's done fairly okay since he's been back. He has, I'm
not disagreeing with you, Warren.
We had a shocking refereeing performance against us in the week. But that being said, to answer your question, I'm not surprised by what Ange has done, because he's got his feet firmly rooted on the ground. He's down to earth. He's able to get people on side. No, I'm not surprised at all. He plays a very aggressive, fast style of football, attacking style of football, which suits Tottenham down to the ground. They will love that, because that's what their fans demand. and they seem very happy with him, and I'm not surprised given the history of that club and the way that they sort of demand that sort of football. So yeah, I'm not in the slightest bit surprised because he's done well wherever he's won, and he's won trophies as well everywhere he's gone, which is something that this current manager that we've got seems incapable of doing. So,
Facts.
and to answer the question you are static, I'd certainly take him over Arteta, 100%, because I know that he'd have these players really fired up and wanting to play for him, and not be making ridiculous, stupid tactical errors all the time. And I'd also take Big Sam and Roy Hodgson or Malcolm Allison over him.
I'd take you, Warren, instead of Arteta. I'd take you, Warren.
I would.
I'd take Matt as well.
Do not rate this fella at all.
Anyone.
I don't know how he got the job, and I don't understand how he's still in a job.
Hey Warren, remember I told you I did that video, and him and Edu sat on the phone for an hour on the first phone call without talking about football.
Sorry, say that again?
Do you remember when Edu and Arteta was talking about the position initially? They sat on the phone for an hour and never talked about football.
There you go. So, yeah, I hope that answered your question, Manny.
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much indeed, Warren. And Henry, we will come to you right now, and I want to thank you for coming on. One manager also who I would possibly take at Arsenal would be a certain Jurgen Klopp, who at least has the proven record and ability to, get some players playing well. And he's certainly got Liverpool playing a lot better this season. And one thing which I would probably say is it is wonderful to see Joe Gomez playing at right back, because I will definitely say this, and I'm sure a lot of Liverpool fans will agree with me, he's a much better right back than he is a central defender. And since he's slotted in with TAA being injured, it's quite fair to say that, the defence has looked actually quite solid. So just one brief question. Obviously, if you were an Arsenal fan, I know you're a Liverpool supporter, but if you were an Arsenal fan, would you have Klopp taking over from Arteta? And once TAA comes back, do you think that he should be made to bide his time while Gomez plays?
Yes, I would. Klopp is outstanding manager, and I 100% would replace Klopp with Arteta. I think Arteta needs to be put out to pasture. But regarding Joe Gomez, yes, I think you're spot on. With that, I think because we had TAA injured, and he still is injured, I don't know if he's going to play Wednesday against Leicester. So playing Gomez at right back was ingenious, and I think it will enable TAA when he comes back to move forward, because I think we've missed out playing TAA at right back. He should be further forward. He will be better in that position, and we have Gomez at right back. But we need some more defence, because our defence at times has been shocking. Again today with Bowen scoring. So, yes, I totally agree with your comment, Manny. So,
yeah,
it's all together for Leicester on Wednesday, but I would definitely choose Klopp over Arteta, 1,000,000%.
Yeah, and to think we should have had him. Now, of course, Henry, you might need to leave, but before you leave, sir, do please shout out your channel and tell us what you got coming up.
Right, well, I just want to say thank you very much to Manny and to all the other panelists. It's lovely to see you guys. My channel is Henry Ray Baker. I need 12 new people to sign up to my channel to get to 200. And I am 50 away from 500 videos. And what I've got coming up is I'm doing crime drama tomorrow afternoon, and also in the evening. And I've got comedy with Only Fools and Horses on Tuesday. And I'm, because it's halfway through the Vanarama National League, which I'm covering right through the season, I'm doing a review of the first half of the season on Thursday. So that's it for my schedule as far as I can think of. But it's been nice being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much indeed, Henry. Good to have you on as always, and we will look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care of yourself and have a good rest of your day.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.
Cheers, Henry. Okay. And then there were 5, but we will get some more people on. And who have I missed? Darren. So obviously we've had a lot of talk about what Tottenham got right, what Arteta did wrong, and obviously whether Ange would be welcome at Arsenal. I think the general consensus is from Warren and also from a slightly more neutral perspective that yes, Ange would be welcome, and definitely someone like Jurgen Klopp would come in. But again, the injuries are now starting to pile up a little bit, and this is where our mettle is going to be tested. We are going to sort of have to depend on our squad depth, and yet we have no squad depth of which to speak. It's bad enough that we loaned Tierney out. We got rid of Nicolas Pepe, leaving only Reece Nelson as cover for Saka. With Martinelli and Trossard now both injured, do we continue to stick with Jesus on the left and have a potential Aubameyang situation? But again, more to the point, we will have to wait for the January transfer window, and I think we will have to, wait until we can send Eddie Nketiah away for good. But the talk once again is on potentially getting Ivan Toney to come to the club, and the timing would be right because his ban would be over. And yet there are a few people who will say that his gambling issues are not what we would need. Now, obviously, we had, Magic Man Merson, who was still able to, drink and gamble during his time and, put in some more than decent performances for us. But those days are, of course, long gone. And there's no doubting his quality. I just wonder if, mentally he'll be up for that challenge. But would you have Ivan Toney coming in January? And if not, is there any other striker who you would possibly take?
Yeah, I mean, I probably just about would have Ivan Toney because we need to be brave. We need to be bold. We need to do something. Going back to the performance today, in one of my previous jobs, the boss used to run meetings and he used to have what you call a zero matrix, and he'd get all the facts out and say, well, this person's done nothing in a month. In the last month, this person's done nothing. This person's done nothing. You're their boss. You tell me why they've done nothing. And sometimes there was a good reason because they were off sick or they're on holiday. And I think at the moment there's several players that will qualify for the zero matrix. And they're people like Eddie Nketiah. He's got a couple of goals, but in the last performances, he's not doing nothing for me. So we have got to certainly get out there and get someone. Even the pundits on Sky today were going, oh, Arsenal look good, but they are missing a striker. I think we're missing a little bit more than that. I think we need midfield and defence still cover. But yeah, I'm not a biggest fan of Tony's off-field antics. I think he is a gamble. I didn't like the fuck Brentford thing he did with his little video. I weren't impressed with that whatsoever because Brentford are probably the biggest club that he's played for to date. And for him to abuse them like that weren't right for me. And obviously you got the gambling as well, which is not a good show. But look, sometimes people just need to be given another chance. And I actually think if we put a bid in and it got accepted, Somebody sat him down and said, look, you can come, but, you know, we ain't giving you big wages to start with until you can show us that you're an Arsenal person with a bit of class off the pitch. But then, of course, have we really got any class anymore? I'm not so sure. But the other player I would go and get as well, and this might be a bit controversial if we can't get him, who will put goals away, knows how to make a run on the back of defenders, strong, not a bottle job. I would go and get Jared Bowen of West Ham, and I'd team him up with Declan Rice as well. Sometimes you've got to bring people in little factions, double people in to make things up. I'm not saying Bowen would be world class, but I would guess that he would be able to put a tackle in, make a run, play on the defender's shoulder like that goal he got in the final, which I thought was a very good goal. And he don't skew his chances. Normally, when he gets in front of goal, he tucks them away, unlike Nketiah today.
Couldn't
Facts.
agree more with that. But, you know, we can all agree the striker is needed. I'm pretty certain that West Ham will say, look, you already took Declan Rice from us and we're doing okay, but you are not getting Jared Bowen off our cold, dead fingers, no matter how much you pay us. And that's going to be a big problem. But it is what it is. Pargav, good afternoon to you. Or, yep, still technically afternoon because it is, of course, midday over in Florida. I should know the timings well by now. An absolute crap show of epic proportions. The floor's all yours. Do take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it that way. It's disappointing, man. I'll put it that way. I mean, I woke up and I saw Nketiah in the lineup. I'm like, I should maybe sleep a little bit more. But I did catch like the watch along with people, and yeah, it turned out to be as expected, I guess. But the big question I have for you guys, I mean, this has been a troubling week for me because it's been like a bipolar week for like the older people, right? I have a question because I used to be that young fan that was ultra positive too, right? And I love the youthful energy of that. How do you balance that, like, with people nowadays? Like, I mean, I know it's like it could be like kind of deep, but like, for example, I've heard some like real, you know, like people overrate footballers, and I didn't really recognize it until, like, you know, you see it on Twitter, but it's Twitter. But you start recognizing your fan base like acting a certain way. Like, how do you reconcile that? Like, because you want to let them have that youthful energy, but at the same time, you're older, right? So with Man City, for example, I feel like they have a quiet confidence. And when I saw like the football terror stream last week, it was kind of like a shambles. Like, I'm like, wow. I was surprised with that stream in a sense, like in terms of like how to act and stuff like that as fans. I never got educated on like being a fan that way, but I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Warren, maybe you can take this one.
I didn't understand the words of that. Sorry, mate.
I think what he's saying is the way people carry themselves on other shows. They're actually
no, it's not that.
Like you've got AFTV, which is just the deluded, damn right ridiculous, and then you've got other shows like this one and the ones Lee Gunner and Kenny Ken and Jez are on that are more realistic and more real, proper supporters, not idiots that are just Arteta. I'm an Arteta fan, not an Arsenal fan. I'm going to have to go, Manny.
As I've said, though, I will shout you out, but please do tell us where we can find you, what you got coming up on your social media. Terrific stuff you put out, Darren. All I can say is well done to you, sir. Take it away before you leave, please.
Thank you very much. Privilege. Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to come on here and vent my frustrations after a disastrous North London derby. Playing Tottenham at home is a bit like Christmas Day as a kid. You're wondering what you're going to get. You're expecting something nice. And when you unwrap the present and it's a draw, it's very disappointing. So we're all feeling it today. So hopefully the next game won't come quick enough. But you can find me on Darren Sullivan 49 on Insta, where I do a few videos, put a few music clips up with a bit of humour in. And every Friday night I do a little 5-10 minutes called the Evening Kickoff. So everyone welcome to come and see me on there. Great to see you all again and see you on Wednesday and Friday.
Cheers. Always a pleasure, Darren. Take care of yourself.
See you,
Enjoy
Darren.
the rest of your day. And
Take care, Darren. Legend.
and of course, I will now welcome a friend of mine who is, of course, a Spurs fan. Now, he is, of course, a very respectful person. I've gone on his stream on several occasions. We actually did a North London derby preview on his channel. A very warm welcome to all the way from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Lokman Yunus Eugene from Spurs Asians TV. Salamat datang to you, sir. Welcome to El Boy Gunner TV.
Eugene, it's been too long.
As happy as you are with the result, I know that you're not going to rub it in our faces. So a pleasure to have you on. Maybe you can sum everything up, what you lot did right, what we did wrong, and where do your team and our team go from here?
I was watching with the Malaysian Spurs fans in the restaurant earlier, right? As I told you, Manny, right? In the beginning, I thought we did hold up quite well until we conceded that own goal, right? And then we reacted well. We came back, we equalized, right? And after we equalized, more or less, we were dominant, right? We were the much better team at that moment of time, right? But somehow or another in the second half, when we came out and we conceded that weird penalty, because if that penalty was given, right, why didn't referee look at the overall picture of how he got that penalty when the ball came in from the corner and he controlled it with his upper arm and all that, then he shot it at Romero. Fair, penalty is penalty. And we responded very quickly and got that equalizer too, right? And remember, Manny, I was telling you during my show that it will be 2-2, right? It will be 2-2. That's the score that I looked at, and it did turn out to be 2-2. The thing is that Arsenal, I don't know about what's happened to your team. It's not the same Arsenal of last season, you know, when you were decisive, right? When you were in the box, you got the job done. Somehow or another this season, I don't know. Is it maybe because Declan Rice is here, or maybe Manny, we were talking about it, right? Changing the formation from 4-2-3-1 to 4-3-3. And the weird part is, right, when BBC came out with the lineups, we were playing the 4-2-3-1, right? Yep. And we had Brennan Johnson there in the thing. But the sad part about Spurs is that after when we subbed off Maddison and we subbed off Son, we just practically became toothless. That's how I saw it. So we do have a squad depth problem. The qualities don't match up at this moment in time. But for you guys, the Arsenal supporters, do you think the midweek game had anything to do with it, or is just that you weren't decisive? It wasn't the same Arsenal that we saw last season.
Brother, I tell you,
we were wasteful and indecisive.
I'm going
to
Matt, take this one. Take this one, please.
I'm going to answer this brother's question.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
The main difference today was Mikel Arteta being Mikel Arteta. This is what we've dealt with for the last 4 years now. This man, when it's time to when the butts get tight in about the 65th minute, that's when he completely loses the plot. It never fails. Never fails. Just look at the substitutions. Brother, you take off Jesus and you bring on Reece Nelson, but you keep Eddie Nketiah on. Would you take off Harry Kane and bring on Yunus Kabul? That's what we saw today. I mean, that's what I saw today. And until that is rectified, this football club isn't doing anything, man. We're not doing anything. We're gonna look good in the process of doing it, but we're not gonna do anything. It's just like it's like a Cadillac DeVille with no engine. It looks good, but it ain't going nowhere. Facts. And that's Arsenal. That's been us for the last 3 seasons. We have looked good, but when it's time to put up or shut up, whether it be against Spurs in a couple of weeks, you just wait. If people thought today was crazy, you wait till the 8th of October. I have had that circled on my calendar since the preseason. And we're going to find out that day where we really stand. Because a lot of Arsenal fans today, they're looking around trying to figure out, well, what's going on? It's not going according to plan. And I've been trying to tell folks, Warren, like I told you beginning of the season, me and you talked off in our back chat, and you said, Matt, it's going to be rough this season, man. It's going to be real rough. And I said, well, Warren, All we gotta do is wait for these games to play out. And guess what, Warren? They're playing out. These games are playing out exactly like we said. I said, just wait. I told you, wait. The first week, you and Jazz was going at it. I said, well, just wait. And I said, about game 4, we're going to have a good idea about where we're headed. And here we are right now. This is the true Arsenal, what you're looking at. I told you last season, we got off good last season. This season is not going to be like last season. 4th, 5th, or 6th. You can pick one, but that's where we're going to be at. We're not going to be in the top 3 this year.
This first 5 games of the season is a complete replication of what we saw in the last 9 games last season.
Boom.
Facts.
100% facts. And
Yeah,
that's
but
what.
Yeah, but one thing about Spurs this season, right? At least when we went down against you guys, our heads didn't go down. You know what I'm saying? This season, there's a change of mentality I see in the Spurs players, right? Maybe Ange is there. Maybe Ange has drilled into them that, if you do have that positive mind, that if you do go out, right, and try to prove yourself, right, you will get a result. But my sad part is that we were reactionary again. We had to go down first before we started to act. You guys, 2 times we had to go down first before we started to act. And guys, don't forget, right? You guys didn't even score in open play.
That's the other fact. I'm bringing that up when I do.
Concern.
I'm bringing that up on Lee's fan cam. This is we are skint when it comes to scoring goals. And people, this summer, I sat there and said, we need a goal scoring striker. And people thought I was crazy. Oh, well, we got Nketiah. I'm like, brother, where y'all been at, man? We spent $100 million on Declan Rice. We spent $65 million on Havertz. Okay, I'm cool with the $100 million for Rice. I'm cool. I get with you on that. $65 million for Havertz could have been put better towards a striker or 2 or 3 other players. Even if it's a striker that can give you 18 guaranteed, 17 guaranteed. But Nketiah is not it. And now we're paying the price for it. We got to sit right here in January. Everybody's yelling, get Ivan Toney. Everybody's on their head. Ivan Toney. But knowing this regime, we're going to get some 14-year-old from Brazil that plays for Flamengo, and then we're going to be stuck with him coming January. They're not going to go out and do what's right. It's been shown over and over and over. And kudos to Spurs, because they were getting pounded there for the first half for a while. And then they come out second half, completely rip up what was going on in the first half. We're going to do something a little bit different. And what happened? And then you look at us, and we were just hanging on for dear life. In the middle of the block, I think about the 83rd minute, I just looked at Lee and them. I say, hey, man, let's just get the draw and get out of here, because we ain't winning this game. Let's just get the draw and get out of here, because other than that, we're in trouble. When I saw 10 minutes go up on that board, I just knew they were going to snatch it late. But we are a long Arsenal Football Club are a long way away. Just Warren, wait until we play the big dogs in the Champions League. Y'all just wait. Wait till we get the Madrids. Wait till we get the Barcelonas. Wait till we see the Bayerns. Wait till we see.
Looking forward to that.
Wait till we get Sevilla.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this. Y'all gonna laugh.
Okay.
You better be glad we didn't get Belgrade on that first game. We would have lost that game. It's certain teams that I'm dreading watching us play. A lot of people go, "Oh, we're gonna pound Chelsea." Okay, is that before they fire Pochettino or after? Because you better hope they keep him by the time we play him. Because otherwise they'll had a manager bounce, and then that's a trouble game. We have got a lot of games here, gentlemen. We do. We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
We gotta keep that the same, though. We gotta keep that the same, Chelsea.
I get that, but here's the thing. I mean, by all accounts, Pochettino was able to get Mudryk playing a lot better today. They just came up in front of the defense. In Aston Villa in decent form, and the sending off didn't help them. But Static, I know you have to leave. I want to say thank you for coming on. I'm sorry I didn't get to you earlier, but I would like you to sort of have a few final thoughts on the game today and where we go from here, and then do shout yourself out and tell us where we can find you.
Well, the game, look, it's 2 massive points dropped. It's definitely looking very, very bleak right now when it comes to the league title. I mean, yeah, okay, look, I can understand everyone wants to wait until Man City game, but as what Kyle Walsh said weeks ago, which I agree with him, as far as I'm concerned, the league title is over. So, but look, it's 2 massive points dropped again, and it still feels like a defeat to Tottenham. With all due respect to Eugene, I know he's in the panel, but which Tottenham did really well. And can I just say, I want to point out, I didn't say this earlier. I was really impressed with James Maddison's performance. He was fantastic in my opinion. So, yet again, a player we should have signed, the one that got away. So that's going to come back to bite us this season. But look, we just have to look forward to the next game, and I'm really trying to avoid saying this heads up onto the next, because that's just no excuses. Because, like I said, look, we've got to bounce back quickly. I'm not looking forward to the League Cup game because I don't know what team Arteta is going to put out, so we'll see what happens. And I guess we'll see what happens for the next 2 games. But as far as I'm concerned, unless we win something, I just our chance of winning the league is fading away very quickly. Unless by some miracle we win against Man City in a few weeks' time, who knows? Now my socials. You can find me on Instagram, which is static__5, and you can also find me anywhere within the Arsenal YouTube community. Thank you for having me on, Manny. I really appreciate it, and big love and respect to everyone on the panel and in the live chat, and to everyone in the live chat. Please like and subscribe. It helps with the channel.
Nice way to finish it. We will see you again soon. Take care of yourself, Static.
Have a good day.
Now,
Take care, everyone. Eugene, it's really good to see you again.
Yeah. And we're going to sort of start to wrap it up a little bit, because I know that, Matt, you're going to have to leave because you've got a fan cam with Lee Gunner on very soon.
Yeah, I've got one in 10 minutes, so I'll go ahead and just say this, man. I think good to see everybody. Bogov, it's a pleasure to meet you as well, brother. And the Spurs, brother, good to meet you as well. Arsenal fans, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be long, hard, and rough. Today, snapshot of what we're probably going to see throughout the season this year. We have got this January transfer window needs to be a cleaning. We need to get a lot of dead wood out, and we need to bring in players that can allow us to compete. Especially if people have aspirations of doing anything in the FA Cup or the Champions League, going to have a better grade of players. A lot of our players are injury prone. As a matter of fact, on my last fan cam, I said health is going to determine how far this team is really going to go. And right out of the gate today, we see we've got several of our top players out, and it looks like some are going to be for an extended period. So, gentlemen, hold on to your butts. As Samuel L. Jackson says, hold on to your butts. It's going to be a long, hard ride. This won't be like last season. You can find me on YouTube here, Southern Gooner. And also, my IG is on my YouTube, so you can click on that as well. I have been working a lot, but once I get past next week, we'll get back to business, and I'll be dropping some videos. And me and Tony and Claude are probably going to do the 2 henchmen this week. So I think we may have one in store for you on Tuesday. So make sure you subscribe to him, Tony and Claude Gunner TV. We'll be talking about this game. So, brothers, always good to see you all. Warren, always good to see you. Monty, always good to speak to you as well, man. We try this again Wednesday. Don't be surprised now if we get put out Wednesday. I told y'all, don't be surprised if we get put out Wednesday with this manager. Not surprised. Not surprised with the result today after those changes. All right, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll leave Pop in, so I'm going to scoot out.
All right, cheers, everyone. Cheers, Matt. Take care of yourself, and we will see you again very soon. Now, of course, as I said, this is going to be our last round of questioning, because I will start to wrap it up. And of course, it goes without saying that another player who we could have had and who's bitten us in the backside today is Yves Bissouma. Eugene, you should be quite happy to have had him, although ironically, Conte couldn't get a tune out of him, but Ange did. But there was an interesting question that was asked earlier. I think it might have been I think you might have asked it, Eugene, maybe. It was about the result against PSV and whether it sort of lulled us into a false security and a sense of complacency. I believe someone mentioned in the chat, it might have been Hendon Guna, that PSV, with their 4-2-3-1 formation, ironically, played into our hands by adopting a high line themselves, and we took advantage of that. Ange obviously must have seen that and said, nope, we're not doing that. Stay solid in defence and catch them on the counter. A pity Christian Romero didn't get the memo. But Warren, I think I'm going to come to you. Obviously, I just wonder if that result against PSV might have given us that sense of complacency, because obviously we had a lot of people, shouting through the rooftops that we are going to go far in the Champions League. And I think we still need to keep in perspective that we have a weak group, and qualifying from that stage should be the bare minimum. But I don't know if the complacency was a factor. Maybe that might have been reflected in the selection today, but clearly, as you mentioned, our midfield looked weak, and Arteta still doesn't have an idea of who he should pick for the for the game in question. He talks of rotation, yet he can't rotate for Toffee, given that he's a former Toffee.
First of all, the Basuma thing, I'm still really angry that we allowed him to join Spurs. We could have had him, and I just think it's shocking. It would have worked so well with him and Rice in the midfield together, or him and
Party.
Party, yeah, it would have worked perfectly, and it would have been decent, a decent squad option. But instead of that, we've got El Neni and
Jorginho.
I mean, it's just a bit of a shambles, really. This business about Wednesday at Brentford, the League Cup, I'm not expecting anything. I think we'll lose that game, and I think Arteta's got no intention of trying to win it. I think he'll do what he normally does and just throw it in the bin. I don't know why they bothered to enter these cups if they don't want to compete. But just say, yeah, we're not going to bother with it. We'll pull out. Do you know what I mean? I just don't. I don't get it, Manny. I really don't. I just find it a bit weird, really. Like putting up this facade that we're going to actually try and compete for the thing, and then not bother to. I mean, it happened last year in the Europa League. We played that Sporting, that Portuguese side, I think it was.
Sporting Lisbon, yes. Sporting Club de Portugal.
And it was a joke. Absolute joke. And then, we threw away the FA Cup. We threw away the League Cup as well. And I've got no doubt in my mind whatsoever that this is going to happen again this year as well. Which is a bit sad, really. Because we've got Buckley's chance of winning the league title. I agree 100% with what Static said. It's over.
Yep.
Man City, that I'm pretty confident that they're going to go invincible, and I'm not even ruling out the possibility they could win every league game this season. I know it's unlikely, but the way they're playing at the moment, I just can't see them losing. They're just like, they go one down, and then the next thing you know, they're 2-3-1 up.
Exactly. Yeah, and the only crumb of comfort is, of course, that Rodri is suspended, but they're just going to bring Mateo Kovacic in or someone else, and then they'll cook us in 2 weeks. So it is what it is.
Yeah, they've got Phillips there as well, haven't they? He's decent.
He was great for England in the Euros, but I think he just hasn't been able to get it together under Guardiola. And, I really don't see him getting much game time. But Guardiola will find a way. He's got the squad to make things happen, and that is what it is.
He's a defensive midfielder. So, therefore, if he needs to play him, he will. He wouldn't have spent the money on him if he didn't think that he could do a job. It's not like Arteta, just do crazy things just for the sake of it to prove that he's smart. Do you know what I mean? That he doesn't do stuff like that, whereas our manager would. Manny.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Pargav, let me come to you. Obviously, it could be a tale of 2 Wednesdays. We were outstanding against PSV, but this upcoming Wednesday, we might not have a chance in hell, according to several people. Are you that pessimistic, or do you think maybe for once Arteta will take the League Cup seriously and play a better team. If he doesn't play a strong team and we go out, I think that is when people are going to start calling for his head. And I'm sure you'd agree with that.
Listen, I'm pretty pissed off with the whole way Arsenal's gone. Big up Eugene, by the way. Like, I mean, his knowledge is impeccable, like from F1 to like football and everything. So I want to shout that out before before I like say anything. But here's the thing with like our fan base. It's like you have a lot of young kids, and it's like it's like such a extreme. Like you have young kids that are like ultra positive. Then you also have like a lot of like people that are like really sensible. But it's like the thing about Arsenal is we haven't done it, right? We haven't done it. So we're still like, I still feel like there's like a wound there in that sense. Like we're still like trying to figure out how to do it. That should have like been taken care of like last year. So we still like live with that wound in a sense. So with the way Arsenal's going, are we going to figure out like how to win a league title or like Champions League? One, Arteta doesn't have the experience for, right? Like, I mean, he doesn't do well in Europe. So that's a big question mark. Can he do it? We'll have to find out, because this is a different level of game. Champions League is very different. Now, as far as like the Man City games and all that stuff, like the title and whatnot, the best chance was last year. We didn't get through the line, right? But at the same time, like there's still a lot. It's a long season. The marathon, I don't know. I don't think. I know Warren's like wrote the season off. Who knows? Like, I mean, you know, like Man City is looking really deep, right? Like, I mean, the way they work and the way we work are totally different, like ball games. I think Man City, the way they work is like they'll go to they have a quiet confidence with them. We're just going to come here, drop 3 points, and move on. With us, it's like everything's hyped up. There's like there's a story behind like every game almost. Like there's a ultra extravagance behind every game. There's an ultra confidence that no one knows if it will happen. People will throw out like ideas. So we're still in that process. But can we do it? Do we have the quality? I don't know. I don't think so. I hope so.
You don't think
I mean,
so?
let's be honest. I hope so. Because I'm tired.
Agreed.
I'll put it that way. It's been to see like to see my friends like celebrate like trebles and whatnot. I am pretty pissed off. But
yep,
that's the way like
agreed completely. And Eugene, once again, thanks a lot for coming on. Great to see a wonderfully level-headed Spurs fan here. I think I will let you have the last word on this, and then we will say goodbye. Obviously, you know, Spurs don't have European football this season, and you won't be having the League Cup next week. You've got the League and the FA Cup on which you can focus. And it has been mentioned that now you will have a game a week. Obviously, ever since last year's horror show, it's fair to say that you've sort of dialed down your expectations this time around. And I really, I don't want to go too far into the future, but I'm just taking a look at your schedule right now. You do have a game next week at home against Liverpool, followed by Luton, Fulham, away at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace, and a home game against Chelsea, which will see a certain Mauricio Pochettino returning to your club. Now, given the way you've progressed this season, obviously you might be liking what has happened. But again, what are your hopes for these upcoming 5 games? Liverpool, I don't know if you could necessarily call that a write-off, but I know you're going to give it a good go. The other games, I think, in the league should be doable, especially with Chelsea being so low on confidence. But are you, being extremely positive, or are you just going to, sort of temper everything a little bit and see how everything plays out? And what are your hopes for these next 5 games?
To be honest with you, Manny, right? We are actually in the rebuild scenario at the moment, right? Because after what happened in the past 2 or 3 managers that we had, we weren't playing the football, the style that Spurs used to play. Ever since Ange has come in, it's given us a bit more an attacking style. So I will look into it as, it's given me hope, but I won't have any expectations this season, because to tell the truth, if we do make it into Europe, I'll be happy. If we get into a cup final or even win a cup, I'll be ecstatic, right? Because we have not won one since in 15 years. So at this time, I see it very clearly, right? We do have a good first 11, but it doesn't go beyond that. Like what happened today is that we should have actually taken you guys out. But the thing is that the way that you guys were playing and, not being in sync and all that, but the thing is that we didn't have the players capable of doing it. When Madison got his knock or the twist of his knee and all that, I was like shitting my pants. You get what I'm saying? If we lose Madison, there's no more creativity in our midfield, right? Then you take Son off, that takes away our goal scoring capabilities all in one shot. You bring on Richarlison, you bring on Solomon, and we do see that Richarlison is a flash in the pan kind of scenario, right? Even if you give him a few more chances, maybe he needs more time. But the thing is that when it comes to top quality opposition, top quality defenders, usually he doesn't get away from his markers and all that. So for me, this season, like I've been looking at it, there's hope, but for me, there's no expectations. And to tell the truth, right, Mani, during the Arsene Wenger days, right, during the early stage of the Carabao Cup, he'll put out the youngsters against he'll just basically put out the youngsters against whatever team they comes up against, right? He doesn't care. So, but like what you guys know that Arteta isn't Wenger, right? So he will hopefully learn, right? This, sad to say, could be a learning curve for him. Last season, to say that you guys bottled it, but why not just say that Man City were the stronger team coming up, right? In all sense. And this season, I think as each game passes, the title of the Premier League is actually slipping away, right? For all we say that we have to see what Manchester City do along the way, in the long run, right? It's all up to Man City whether they slip up, and they hardly look like slipping up because they have two sets of first 11 that actually could just go out and smack everyone, right? And Pep is really good at doing it. So in the end of the day, I see this season, it's still early, guys, right? It's still very early, 6 games in. The game coming up against Liverpool will be another test for us. Whether we pass or not, I'm not sure yet, because we will have to see what happens to Liverpool along the way too, right? They are playing midweek too, if I'm not mistaken, right? Whether Klopp takes the Carabao Cup seriously or not, I'm not sure on that. So we do have a week to prepare for every game until the FA Cup comes along. My fear is that Brennan Johnson went down with a hamstring issue. Who will cover for him, right? Will Solomon do the job? And at the moment now, what if Madison is not 100% fit, because the knee thing could be a disguise, because in that day he had to be taken off, right? And the weird part is that Son has not actually played a full 90-minute game in this whole past 6 games that's been passed through in the league. So I'm not sure whether Son has got because he's coming back from a hernia surgery. So whether he's actually up to 100%, maybe he's just 80 or 90%. That's why Ange doesn't want to push him all the way. So we'll see. I'm happy that we got a draw at Arsenal, because number one, when we went down, at least our heads didn't go down and we didn't capitulate and just fold over and get smacked by you guys. We did come back. That's a good sign, right? But I guess the next test coming will be Liverpool. And I guess the rest of the other games against Luton and Fulham and the rest of the games that are coming up, I guess it looks very winnable for us, right? But you'll never know, right? Along the way, a few more injuries that depletes our squad. We really lost Perisic. So that's one thing that is scary. So I don't know, maybe hopefully until when January comes, we will strengthen in the areas that we need to be strengthened, right? So let's hope we work on that.
And that's the hope that keeps us going on. Well, we are wrapping it up, but I'm going to ask you all to shout out yourselves and your channels. Eugen, as always, let me say terima kasih. It's been wonderful having you on. Do please shout your channel out, where we can find you, and what you've got coming up later on.
Spurs Vision TV on YouTube, right? On Twitter, usually I'm just using my own name handle, at NIJUE88. You can find me on Twitter. I just have those two, right? The next show coming up most probably will be the preview review show that usually I have on a week during midweek or so. I'll try to get it out with you guys, Mani, and any of you guys who like to join me, right? Either Tuesday or Wednesday. try to get a few more fans from other clubs around Asia to come on and talk about what's happening, right? Because the next game, of course, most probably I'll be doing a preview of the Tottenham-Liverpool game. Maybe get a few Liverpool fans on and have a chat on that too, right? So Liverpool looks a bit menacing at the moment, but let's see whether we can actually counter them this coming Saturday. But I'm hopeful that we'll give it a good run for the money that we play against Liverpool. And Liverpool has to play a midweek game, so that might give us a bit of advantage, right? But guys, don't forget, smash the like and subscribe on this channel too, on Del Boy Gunner's channel, right? And all the rest of the channels and all the panelists that came on earlier, right? Big up, guys.
Okay, and that is, of course, your video, Spurs U Asians TV, and we will definitely look to catch you there. Bhargav, I will, just make sure that you are unmuted, but do shout yourself out. Where can we find you?
Yeah, I guess I'm on Instagram. I forget, it's like Beacondetti1, but yeah, you'll see me like celebrating a league title or like any title for that matter. So when I get there, whenever I get there in life, I guess.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you something. I am very pissed off with this because I'm like, I thought that was gonna be last year, but at this point, like, I mean, I don't know when it's gonna happen. Kind of like,
well,
but
all we can do is hope, and it is the hope that can either kill us or keep us going on. Big up as well to Warren, who I wanted to shout out before we ended the stream, but sadly he had to leave. His channel is, of course, Warren's Team Talk on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And he has some terrific stuff going on. The Soccer Saturday streams are always a must-watch. He also does some terrific work for the Diesel Arsenal channel, talking about paranormal events. And you can find him on Instagram, also adding some posts and providing some previews as well. Check him out whenever you can. Always a treat to listen to him and listen to him coming along. One of the regulars of our channel. I wanted to save him for the very end, but maybe his electricity just went off. But thanks a lot to everyone in the chat who's contributed. Everyone from Hendon Guna to Aces to Gavin O'Flaherty to Alan Attich and several others who have Luke James as well. If I've missed any of your names, I do apologize, but all of you have contributed to this stream today. Taib Hussein, of course, Scott Kirk. No jokes from Taib today. Maybe he wasn't in the mood for it, and SLHD and several others. But as I said, you're the ones who have made this stream what it is tonight and make Del Boy's channel what it is. Del Boy would have been here today, but again, he's had to work. And once again, our sympathies and condolences do go out to the friends, near ones, and family of Maddie Cusack. And may she rest in peace. And hopefully, her family will find the strength to move on from this. But as always, thanks a lot thanks again to every one of you for joining in. And as Del Boy would say, take care of yourselves. May the Almighty bless every one of you. And we are out, people.
And as always.
What a goal!